We're here with Terria Walters, who's been kind enough to join us driving in from the Valley. You have been going through a parent's worst nightmare. Can you tell us the story of how you got to be here today?
Well, I got a phone call well, not a phone call, I actually had a visit from an officer on Tuesday morning, or maybe it was Wednesday morning. The days are kind of mixed up. It's just, I had reported my son missing. It was Tuesday night. And I had a bad feeling all day that something wasn't right.
It was like a week ago. I saw your post on Facebook saying, "Has anyone seen my son?"
Yes. And before I went and reported it to the police, I had posted something on Facebook in regards to my son missing. And so what I did is I went and filed a police report, and I said, hey, something's not right. I feel it in my gut. My son's not answering his phone, and it's off. He's not answering my texts, messages. And so I filed a report. I went home and I just was praying, and I was like, please, I need to know where my son is. I need to know. And I actually asked God, I was like, please don't take my son from me. And so I'm laying in my room and I'm talking to my friend Jose on the phone, and he's just, encouraging me, and I'm falling asleep. Mm-hmm. I end up falling asleep, and I get a call. My ringer was off, and I get a call. And I can still hear it.
Somehow that woke you up.
Yes, I still heard it. I was like, oh, maybe my son was calling me. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't. It was an unknown call. And so it was a state trooper outside my door. And it was early a.m. The sun hadn't come up yet. And I let him in, and he asked me, okay, so we're, investigating your son's disappearance. Can you tell me what you told the Palmer Police Department? And I told him. And then he said, I just want to let you know that we did find your son's car. And I said, you did? I said, did you find my son? And he said, yes, and he's deceased. My heart sank. I just completely lost it. I didn't know. I was shaking. I was completely in shock. And the first things that came out of my mouth was, he's diabetic. Was it diabetes? Mm-hmm. And I said, was it a drug overdose? And both those things were not a factor. And I said, was it foul play? And he said, yes. And
they've officially determined it. He has been murdered.
Yes. My son was murdered, and he was left in his car in Big Lake. I'm not exactly sure which fireworks stand. I drove out there last night to hand out flyers, but I suspect I kind of figured which one it was, but I can't really say.
Right.
But he was found behind a fireworks stand out in Big Lake.
And you guys live in Palmer?
Yes, live in Palmer. My son had left Monday morning, and he said, bye, Mom, I love you. And he told me he was going to work.
And he's been working as a roofer?
He was working as a roofer, and then he got a sunburn, and then he's like, I'm not going to go into Anchorage and get $12 an hour for this. So he said that he had found a job building fences, and he was getting 20-something an hour. So I was like super proud of him.
Yeah, great job.
And so he said, I got to go to work, and that was the last time I saw him or spoke to him. I had suspected, I told him, I was like, please make sure that you come home and help me out clean the house, because I really need you to do your part. Mm-hmm. I had 700 Club coming, and they were going to be filming on Tuesday about my testimony and my story, because I also have my own personal story. And the whole day Tuesday, I had this horrible feeling. My son didn't make it home. When I got home Monday night after work, the kitchen wasn't done, his bathroom wasn't cleaned, so I tried calling and no answer.
And normally, he's very responsive to you.
Absolutely never. If I text my son or I call him, he always responds, even if it's an hour or two later. He always says, sorry, Mom, I was sleeping. I'm fine.
Right.
And I was constantly worried about my son just because.
And he's one of those good guys. I saw he was prom king, graduated from high school locally.
Yes.
Had lots of friends.
Yes.
The gentle giant.
Yes, that was one of my coworkers actually named him that, because he did work with me at Palmer City Ale House. He was a server there, and then occasionally bar back. Mm-hmm. And he was always known as someone very shy and had a great attitude, always just
But very charismatic,
yes,
happy guy.
Yes, always joking around, had a great sense of humor, always making people laugh, especially me. And even when we were all home by just the two of us, he would do things just to, you know, be
Really
silly.
good-natured guy.
Yes, absolutely.
He's not one of these thug kind of.
No.
At all.
No, and first look, people, that would be their first perception of him, but definitely not. He was not confrontational. He's very even, had an even temper. He was not into, you know, getting into fights with people. He was interested in doing MMA fighting, but that was only for the ring.
Right.
You know, but he wasn't malicious. He was not a malicious person. And that's why I just could not believe that somebody would do this to my son, because he's just a good kid, you know, and
That's not a natural extension of how he was living his life. This is a total shock that somebody would take it upon themselves to murder your son.
absolutely, yes.
We have to take a commercial break. Stick with us, we'll be right back in just a moment.